On behalf of the all-volunteer Veterans Affairs of Dawson County, I want to welcome you to our program to honor our veterans. Will those of you who can please stand for the presentation of our colors by the Scouts, Scout Troop Corps 22, and remain standing for the National Anthem sung by the combined 7th and 8th grade chorus of Dawson County Middle School, and the Invocation by Wallace, Chaplain of the Vietnam Veterans of America Chapter 970.
Color guard, attention. Color guard, advance. Color guard, place the colors. Staff salute.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, came through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our great country. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
color guard retreat. Color guard dismiss.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Wallace, Chaplain, Vietnam Veterans, Chapter 970.
Would you pray with me, please? Lord, thank you for the freedom we have to meet this Veterans Day. We thank you for the men and women who, when called upon, gave their best to serve and protect our country. We pray that you will bless them, Lord, for their unselfish service to protect our freedom and safety. We especially pray for the families of those who gave their lives, who made the ultimate sacrifice to defend our freedom. We pray for all those who serve us now in our country and around the globe, especially those in harm's way. Shield them from danger and bring them home safely. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Please be seated. Our nation has been involved in many wars since our War for Independence in 1776. World War I, as it became known, was fought in 1917 and 1918, when the Americans were asked to assist our French and British allies. The 11th hour of the 11th month of the 11th day, 1918, was the day an armistice was signed ending what President called the war to end all wars. The 11th of November became Armistice Day, a national holiday to honor the veterans. It was nearly 20 years later that the rumblings of war once again sounded in Europe. Americans knew it would only be time before once again our young men and women would be engaged in war. This song became a rallying song for a nation faced with another war.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside me and guide me through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the rivers, to the ocean.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's our youth of today. December the 7th, 1941 was called a day that lives in infamy. It engaged the nation in a war in the Pacific, and the war in Europe was nearly 2 years old. Americans rose to the challenge, facing war in two theaters. Our youth today still honor those of you who served our country and sacrificed so much, large or small, physical or emotional. It is my privilege to present the chorus of the Robinson Elementary School under the direction of Mrs. Jennifer Wright.
Classic song for you today. It's called This is the Army, Mr. Jones.
Their faces turning red.
nation in World War II. I would like to introduce them. Most of them are sitting in the back of the room, unfortunately. First, Ed Wallace, World War II, the Army, 1944 to 46. Okay. Doug Leachman, U.S. Air Force, 21 years. Bob Smith, Air Force. Lou Molyneux, Navy. Roland Boquette. I believe, Roland, you were in the Navy too, weren't you? The Army, can't remember, Roland Boquette. Please bear with us because some of these gentlemen are not able to stand up. Last but not least, Ted Brown, U.S. Army. We do have two female veterans with us today. Cindy Kohler, who served in the Air Force, right there. She's not World War II, but she's a veteran anyway. And we have Rhonda Stone, who served with the U.S. Navy. We also have with us Mrs. Evelyn Cook. Mrs. Cook is a Gold Star wife. Not every soldier, sailor, marine, or airman faced combat. Many had other jobs, important jobs that kept the fighting band ready. World War II came to an end in 1945. In Europe, it was the invasion of Germany. In the Pacific, it was the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, forcing the armistice. Our soldiers came home, and the nation once again reveled in peace, a peace that lasted a scant 5 years. In July of 1950, American forces fought along the 38th parallel to repel the invasion forces of North Korea that were supported by the Russians and the Chinese. If we let Korea down, President Harry Truman said, the Soviets will keep right on going and swallow up one place after another. The fight on the Korean Peninsula was a symbol of the global struggle between East and West, good and evil. As the North Korean army pushed towards Seoul, the South Korean capital, the United States readied its troops for a war against communism itself. The war ended with a stalemate in July 1953 and was called the Forgotten War. Unlike World War II and Vietnam, the Korean War did not get much media attention. In the United States, the most famous representation of the war in popular culture was the television series MASH. That set in a field hospital in South Korea and ran from 1972 until 1983, longer than the war itself. And its final episode was the most watched in television history. Playing the theme from MASH, Mr. Jim McGuirty. And when I told you that things go awry, they went awry for me because I forgot something. But right now, we're honored to have with us today veterans of the Korean War. And will you please stand so that we can give you the honor you so rightly deserve? I will tell you that last year we had quite a number of Korean War veterans with us. Phone call recently, many of them are under the weather and could not be with us. I made an error earlier when we introduced the World War II veterans. We have two videos that I want to show you, and we're going to do it now.
You mean what you did in World War II? Okay. On December 7th, came along, and a week later at the breakfast table, I said to Mom and Dad, I'm going to join the Army Air Corps. And my mother just went straight up. And Dad said, now, Mother, let's just wait a minute. And he had been in World War I, in the infantry, up in the trenches. And it turned out he didn't want his son in the trenches, so he talked to her, and 2 weeks later she said, okay, I'll sign a letter, let me go in the Army Air Corps. And I went in, actually met them on the 12th of January, but I was sworn in on the 26th of March, 1942. And they had made a mistake on the dates, and when they called me up, they got me off the train, and the little second lieutenant that had sworn me in said, you lied about your age, didn't you? I said, no, I didn't. And we got up to the headquarters, and they pulled all my records out. And no, he said, you didn't lie about your age. Somebody made a mistake. Anyway, 6 months later, I went in because I went in as a flying cadet. In the meantime, Congress had changed it to aviation cadets. And you can be commissioned at 18 as an aviation cadet. But as a flying cadet, you had to be 21. So I didn't go in until May of that same year then, but I was 21 when I moved. I went through flying school, and we reported into St. Joe, Missouri. We were the envy of our class. We were P-38 pilots. That's where we were going. We arrived at St. Joe, Missouri. There's only one airplane sitting on the field. This was in February of 1943. And when he said, we had 65 of us coming there for P-38s. The only airplane was a C-47. So they sent us a message to Washington to see what to do with the 65 of us from the different bases. And they said, we're going to put you on temporary duty with the different airlines because the Army nor the Navy really knows how to fly weather. And that probably saved my life many, many times because I went to American Airlines, went through their orientation in their all-weather school, and then I went through to this OTU on C-46s and went over and flew the hump, taking supplies from India to China. And during the monsoon season, which lasts about 9 months, you see the ground when you break out of the clouds, and you get over in China, and you can have some pretty good weather. But in India, it was socked in. But then the other part of it was pretty good weather. But it was not unusual to have just 300-foot ceilings in the Indian country. We were right at the foot of the Himalaya Mountains, and stayed that way for most of the monsoon season. But it didn't bother us. The only thing that bothered us, we were in what they call the tea plantation country, and instead of having American tents, the only tents they could get for us were from Africa, from the Sahara Desert, and they were British. They didn't keep a whole lot of water out, believe me. I flew 187 missions over the Hump and helped evacuate Quay Lin when the Japs took that over. And I came home in December of 44. I had 35 souls on a war-weary aircraft, and the boss had said, "You take these guys on home with you and take the airplane." But by the time I got to Casablanca to go across the Atlantic, I had 2 engines replaced, and I wasn't about to start across the Atlantic with 35 people in the back and not be able to get to the Azores. So I just turned my airplane in, and an Army transport ship came in, and all 35 plus my crew got on the boat, and we went home. Took a little longer, but it was a lot safer, believe me. And we got home in December 44, and my wife to be was teaching school. But we got married on the 7th of January, and after I reported back to the base after my leave was over, they said, "You're going to Reno, Nevada, Stead Army Air Force Base to instruct in C-46s. And that's where I was when the war ended. But they didn't want to let me out yet, so they sent me to aerial photography school. And I went through that at Denver, Colorado. And finally, actually, this sounds weird, but I was actually separated from the Army on the 4th of July, 1946. I was home for about until 1951, and I was working for a refinery. And I got a message from the War Department saying they're being recalled. We need pilots for Korea. So I reported in, and they sent me to Reese Air Force Base, Lubbock, Texas, and I instructed pilots in B-25s until the summer of 1955. From there I went to Newfoundland and was the old man's pilot, a 3-star pilot, for 2.5 years. Plus I had to have a desk job when I wasn't flying in. So they put me in personnel, and I did, I guess, pretty well in personnel, officer assignments. And when they closed me out down Northeast Air Command, Air Defense Command pulled me in to man their headquarters. So I manned the officer billets, lieutenant colonels, and below, from then until the Pentagon took me, and I did the same thing up there, only I was manning the Secretary of the Air Force and President Johnson, President Kennedy to start with, and President Johnson office, and finished that tour, and I went to Vietnam as commander of the big air base, Cam on Bay. Finished that tour, and that wasn't a very good tour. My daughter asked me once, why do they fight wars with young men instead of old men? And I thought about it a little bit, and I said, well, as a young man, I knew nothing was going to happen to me. Nobody was going to hurt me. I was safe. She said, what do you mean? I said, well, and I thought a little bit. For instance, I took off in India with a 55-gallon drums of 100-octane gasoline in the back of my C-46. And my crew and I are up in the cockpit smoking cigarettes. She said, "Oh, I see what you mean." And I said, and then I go to Vietnam, and I almost tear up every time I see one of my guys take off. And you don't know whether they're coming back. But anyway, that's a different story too. I went from there to headquarters staff as the assistant DCS personnel. And when I had just 4 years for my mandatory retirement left, they sent me to Bergstrom as director of personnel for 12th Air Force. And that's where I was when I retired from the Air Force in 1 January 1978, after 37 years, 11 months, and 8 days of active duty. And that's the end of my story.
And that's a fantastic story too. I really appreciate it. And while we queue up another one, let me tell you that man's name is Don Mishler. A few weeks after doing this interview, he passed away. It's wonderful. He's a great guy. I'm sorry, but it's wonderful that we have him on video. We've got his history. And some of these others back here that I introduced you to, we have them also. So we're starting one more guy right now. And because he told me once before, "Look, I'm just recording this so that we can, if I can get this stupid thing to work, well, we'll just do it like that."
You tell me what you
Yeah, tell me what you did in the Navy in World War II.
I was first class petty officer, and I was so fortunate I never got shot at. I ended up working for the commanding officer of amphibious training base, and he was a 31-year-old veteran, 31-year veteran of the Navy, and was ready to retire when World War II started. And I went to work for him. He was my Navy daddy. He was a grand old man and a real sailor. He had been in command of destroyer. They are flat-bottom boats and kind of rough. If you're going to get seasick, you'll get seasick on the destroyer. Yeah.
Well, you started out with landing craft, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was before the war started. 2 years before you went into the military.
Yeah. I was in a beach battalion, and the beach battalion assaulted the shore after the Marines went in, and we set up whatever you call them, placards up in this air to show the landing craft where to come in. They bring fuel in here, ammunition in here, and food in over here. And was in that beach battalion to begin with, and ended up as ship's rider to Captain Clarence, no middle initial, Go Branson. Grand old man. I was certainly fortunate, and I wouldn't take anything for my years in the Navy.
You wrote a book, didn't you? You wrote a book, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't take anything from my Navy service. Really special.
I think. Please accept apologies for the bad photography. That was me doing that. And I'm very proud, as I say, there's some more of those gentlemen back there that I have on video as well. And very proud to have them. They will be retaining, that will tell you. Following the war in Korea, Congress recognized that the Armistice Day holiday no longer was representative of our veterans. So in 1954, they renamed it Veterans Day, the day we celebrate today. 6 years later, America was once again pitted against a foreign enemy, this time in a small divided country known as Vietnam. In 1961, President Kennedy sent 400 Special Forces soldiers to train South Vietnamese military. By his death in 1963, there were 16,000 soldiers engaged in the war. The Vietnam War is one of, if not arguably, the most devastating and well-known war happenings after World War I and World War II. It is also the war that many do not understand, fully because the information given by the media and taught in schools is usually limited, incomplete, incorrect, and full of bias for both sides in the war.
I was aircraft maintenance. Was in the train, Northern Cameron Bay for a year. Providing support for transiting aircraft. Fixed them to get them out of there. And then I got to come back citywide after job salute. And was doing heavy maintenance then where we would patch them up all up, get them back to home base, and get them fixed up, chain landing gears down, remove doors and stuff for when you have flights, the flight controls operational again so they can make it back, and that was probably it. We got to work a whole lot, and so I need to say, I don't know.
So you spent your time basically in aircraft maintenance itself and not in the combat situation.
Correct, yeah. We were surrounded support. Like I said, we supported any aircraft that came in, whether they were helicopters, cargo fighters, including gunships and stuff, where we got to patch stuff and back out.
And how long were you there?
I was there for a full tour, and at TY I was back in and out of there for about 5 months.
All right. Well, welcome home.
Thank you.
escort, so to speak.
Were you ever attacked over there?
Just, I think the week before I got there, and about a week after I left.
Oh, okay. How long were you in total?
4 years. 4 years, sack train killer. They call it.
Yeah, all right. So, I don't know what else to ask you. But welcome home, and thank you very much. The Vietnam War was misreported then and now is misunderstood and misremembered more than any events in American history. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome once again Mr. Jim McGuirty, a Vietnam veteran, playing Born to Be Wild.
Ladies and gentlemen, this song was the song that you thought of if you were in Vietnam. Going across the jungles, in the helicopter. This is the song that brought it alive to everybody.
Jim, you can sit there or you can go sit down somewhere else, whichever you'd like to do. We have with us today members of Vietnam Veterans of America Chapter 970 in Dawson County and Chapter 1030 in Forsyth County. Will you and other Vietnam veterans here today please stand so that we can say welcome home and thanks for your service. Each year we recognize a Veteran of the Year, somebody from this area who has done something that we think is pretty indicative of somebody you want to reward. Our 2015 selectee served in Vietnam, achieved the rank of sergeant. His service there was indicative of the service he gives to this community, his fellow veterans, and other organizations that ask his help. I've never heard him refuse anyone that gave him an honest request for assistance. It is my pleasure to introduce our Veteran of the Year, Mr. Charles Spector. Our nation's recent history is again filled with actions by our American forces. Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein ordered the invasion and occupation of neighboring Kuwait. in early August 1990. Alarmed by this invasion and these actions, fellow Arab powers such as Saudi Arabia and Egypt called on the United States and other Western nations to intervene. And by mid-January 1991, the Persian War began, Persian Gulf War, with a massive U.S.-led air offensive known as Operation Desert Storm. After 42 days of relentless attacks by the Allied coalition in the air and on the ground, President George H.W. Bush declared a ceasefire on February 28th. By that time, most Iraqi forces in Kuwait had either surrendered or fled. Will anyone here today who served in Desert Storm please stand? Thank you for your service. We also remember that day called 9/11, the day terrorists attacked the United States, bringing down the Twin Towers and causing the death of 6,000 innocent Americans. In 2003, the U.S.-led invasion of Iraq, Operation Iraqi Freedom, toppled the regime of Saddam Hussein, and he was tried and executed by a military court. Our forces were engaged in continued fighting in Iraq that spilled over into Afghanistan, and a regime known as Al-Qaeda took up the fight. Even today, our troops remain in Afghanistan and are fighting against the tyranny of one faction against an innocent population. Al-Qaeda and ISIS stand poised to impose their will and institute their own form of oppression. I ask now that those who served in Iraqi Freedom or other Iraqi events in Afghanistan please stand. And if you are currently serving in the military, either active reserve or National Guard, also please stand. The oldest award in military history is the Purple Heart. It was generated by George Washington in that war. It displays the valor of the military recipient to have been wounded in service to the country. Will those here today who bear the Purple Heart please stand so that we may thank you for your sacrifice. It is with great pleasure that I introduce Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Woody Perry of the Dawson County High School Junior ROTC, presenting the Missing Man Table.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you could please direct your attention to the center of our gathering. You may have noticed the table set before you. It is filled with symbolism. I will explain. This table is set for our prisoners of war, missing in action, and killed in action from all wars. They are not with us today. The chairs are empty, but saved for their hope to turn. Let us remember them. Let us remember the United States Army. Let us remember the United States Marine Corps. Let us remember the United States Navy. Let us remember the United States Air Force. And let us remember the United States Coast Guard. Let us remember the men and women prisoners of war from all branches of service that are too often forgotten. Let us remember them. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions and to respond to their country's call to arms, so that their children could remain free. Remember. The lone candle symbolizes the frailty of the prisoners alone, trying to stand up against their oppressors. Remember. The black ribbon on the candle reminds us of those who will not be coming home. Remember. The single rose reminds us of the loved ones and families of our comrades in arms who keep the faith and await their return. Remember. A slice of lemon is on the bread plate to remind us of their bitter fates if we do not bring them home. Remember. There is salt on the plate, symbolic of the family's tears as they wait and remember. The red, white, and blue ribbon is tied by yellow ribbon to the flower vase. This ribbon is worn by thousands who await their loved one's return. Remember. The faded picture on the table is a reminder that they are greatly missed and are always remembered by their families. Remember. As we look upon this table, do not remember the ghosts from the past. Instead, remember our brothers and sisters in arms. Remember. Remember those whom we depended on in battle. They now depend on us to bring them home. Remember. Remember our friends and loved ones who loved life and freedom as we do and sacrificed so much for. Remember. They remember what we do. Please honor and remember them so that they will never be forgotten. Remember.
Ladies and gentlemen, the rendering of taps. Thank you, C. It is now my pleasure to bring Mr. Kevin McGuirty to the stage. He is choral director of Dawson and Riverview Middle Schools, to sing Proud to be an American.
Just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, From Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American. When we stop, though, I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'm glad they stand up next to you and the feathers still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this place. God bless the USA. Now I'm proud to be an American. Where we start, no, I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and the feathers still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this place. God bless the USA.
Thank you very much, Kevin. This is almost done. I want to quote our 40th U.S. President, Ronald Reagan. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same, or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States, where men were free. The late President John Kennedy said, "A nation does not reveal itself in the men it produces, but in the men it honors, the men it remembers." We are here today to honor you, our veterans, and remember you, and remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you for being with us today. We hope we have honored you properly, sufficiently, and really want to say thank you for your service to our country. Please join us outside for the Veterans Day Parade. Thank you very much.